Today our topic is reflections. So we want to make a mirror of the image somewhere else on the graph. So think about like your face reflected in a mirror. That's what we are doing. So reflect across the x-axis. So if we reflect this across the x-axis, that is this line right here. See the x there? It's the x-axis. That means it's going to be the same distance across the x-axis on the top as it is on the bottom. So for each coordinate point, so here we have coordinate point A. To find A prime, we just have to count the number of spaces it is from the x-axis. So here's the x-axis. We count up 1, 2, 3. So point A is 3 up. So A prime is going to be 3 down. So we go to the x-axis and we go 1, 2, 3. And there's A prime. Do the same thing for the other coordinate points. So we have coordinate point D is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. So then we would go 5 down for D prime. So we'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's D prime. M is also 5 units up because it's at the same level as D. So we would just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units down, and there's M prime. And then W is 4 units up, so we would go 1, 2, 3, 4 units down, and there's W prime. Connect the dots, and you should see an image that looks like it's been reflected. It's just kind of like upside down, flipped over that x-axis. So if we look at our coordinate points, you should notice that when you reflect across the x-axis, the x-coordinate stays the same. So this is 3, 3, excuse me. So it's the coordinate point 4, 3. If we wrote coordinates for this point, because there's 1, 2, 3, it's 4 on the x-axis, and then 1, 2, 3 on the y-axis. But then for A prime, it's 4, negative 3. So it just flipped the y value from positive to negative. So if you reflect across the x-axis, your x number is going to stay the same, but your y is going to become negative. So in our example 2, 3, that would be 2, negative 3. That's how you can reflect it just using the coordinate points if you don't want to count the spaces. Reflect across the y-axis. So here is the y-axis. So again, same concept, except for now we're just counting from the y-axis. So W is 2 to the left. So for W prime, it'd be 2 to the right. So we count 1, 2. There's W prime. For S, it's still 2 across, so we would do S prime is there. I should write it on the other side. W prime, S prime. I is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. So we would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. And that is I prime. And then P is 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left. So we would do 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right for P prime. Connect the points to make your shape. And there we have our reflection across from the y-axis. So if we reflect across the y-axis here, we can see that our coordinate points have the same y value. So here, let's just use S. S has the coordinate negative 2. There's negative 1, negative 2. And then it's at 1 on the y-axis. So it has negative 1, negative 2, 1. For S prime, though, instead of it being a negative 2 for the x value, it's a positive 2 and then a positive 1. So the x value changes to the opposite, so it's negated, and then y is the same. So for example, 2, 3, it would become negative 2, and 3 would stay the same. Now, before we move on to the next examples, we do need to talk about rules, because reflection across the line y equals x. If you see the line that's drawn on your paper, it's that diagonal line. Reflection across y equals x is going to negate, it's going to flip your x and y values. So xy would just become yx. It would flip those two numbers. So 2, 3 would become the point 3, 2. You would just flip those around. That's how you reflect across yx. And to reflect across y equals negative x, which is the other line, the line going down, you still flip y and x, but you also negate them or make them the opposite. So a positive would become negative and a negative would become positive. So 2, 3 would become negative 3, negative 2. So let's look at our next two examples on our paper. All right, so for our next two examples, we're going to use those rules. Reflect across y equals x. So that's the line that I have drawn on your paper for you. And remember, that means your x, y numbers are going to become y, x. So first off, we have to write coordinate points. So the coordinate point for L is 0, 2. The coordinate point for H is negative 2, 3. Coordinate point for Q is negative 2, 1. And then the coordinate point for P is negative 3, negative 2. So there's your coordinate points. So now to find the coordinate points for the primes, the reflection, L prime, all we have to do is just flip 0 and 2. So it's going to be 2, 0. For H, it's going to be 3, negative 2. For Q, flip the negative 2 and the 1, we get 1, negative 2. For P, we get negative 2, negative 3. And then all we have to do is plot those new points. So these are L prime, H prime, Q prime, and P prime. So L prime is at 2, 0, which is right here on our x-axis. So that's L prime. Then we have H prime, which is at 3, negative 2. So we go right 3, down 2. So there's H prime. Q prime is at 1, negative 2. So right there, there's Q prime. And then P prime is at negative 2, negative 3. So there is P prime. Oh, excuse me, negative 2, negative 3. So negative 2, negative 3. There's P prime. So if we connect the dots, we get that image that has just been reflected across that line of y equals x. Last one, reflect across the line y equals negative x. This line has been drawn on your paper for you. It's right there. So again, with y equals negative x, your x, y pairings just change to negative y, negative x. So you flip them and make them the opposite. So again, we have to write coordinate points for each coordinate. So we have S right here is 4, 2. We have A right here is 3, negative 1. We have J right there is 4, negative 3. And then T is 5, negative 2. So now, write coordinate points for the primes. We have S prime. We'd flip 2 and 4 and make them the opposite, so they'd both become negative instead of positive. For A prime, flip 3 and negative 1 and make them the opposite, so this negative 1 would become positive 1, this positive 3 would become negative 3. J prime, we'd flip the two numbers, so it'd be negative 3, 4, and then make them the opposite, so positive 3 and negative 4. And then for T prime, we flip the negative 2 and the positive 5, and negative 2 would become positive 2, positive 5 would become negative 5. And now we just have to plot them. S prime is at negative 2, negative 4, so right there is S prime. A prime is at positive 1, negative 3, which is right there. J prime is at positive 3, negative 4. Right there, there's J prime. And then t prime is at positive 2, negative 5. So there is t prime. Connect the points, and then you get the image reflected over the line y equals negative x. That's all the notes I have for you today. Thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel.